Have you ever walked into the kitchen, opened the fridge, and suddenly forgotten what you were looking for? Or maybe you were telling a story to a friend and, out of nowhere, couldn't recall the name of someone you've known for years. If you nodded, you're not alone. I've met hundreds of patients over 60, and almost all of them have those little blank moments. But here's what I've realized: our memory doesn't fade just because we get older. In many cases, it's like a garden that's been deprived of water, sunlight, and a few key nutrients that the brain needs to stay vibrant and alive. I want you to picture your brain as an orchestra. When it's missing a few special musicians, those secret vitamins, the melody of memory starts to lose its rhythm. And what's surprising is, most of us have never been told about them. In today's video, I'm going to share with you those secret vitamins. The quiet friends that help protect your memory and mental clarity every single day. After 60, many people tell me, "Doctor, my mind just isn't as sharp as it used to be. It feels like there's a thin fog over everything, not exactly forgetfulness, but things just aren't as clear anymore." And I always smile because I know it's not that you're getting weaker, it's simply that your brain is getting tired. Think of it this way: inside your brain are billions of nerve cells, tiny electrical wires constantly passing signals back and forth. When we're young, those connections fire like lightning, but as the years go by, those wires begin to dry out, their protective coating weakens, and the signals travel more slowly. It's like an old piano. It still plays, but the notes aren't as bright or crisp as they once were. Add to that slower blood flow to the brain, meaning less oxygen, less energy, and those neurons don't get fully nourished. Then we sleep less, worry more, eat in a rush, move our bodies less. All those small habits slowly pile up, like a steady rain eroding the soil of our memory. I once had a patient, Eleanor, 68, a former math teacher. She told me, "I used to remember every formula, every student's name, but now sometimes I can't even remember what I just said to my husband." After testing, we discovered she was severely deficient in a few essential vitamins, the very nutrients her brain needed to renew itself every single day. And the first vitamin I want to talk about is vitamin B12. I like to call it the gatekeeper of memory. Vitamin B12 acts like a protective armor for your nerve cells. It helps maintain the myelin sheath, a thin layer that wraps around your nerves, allowing signals in your brain to travel smoothly and clearly, like a strong electric current. When you lack B12, that protective layer begins to wear down. The nerves become like frayed cables, and the messages in your brain start to break apart. That's why you may notice yourself forgetting things faster, reacting more slowly, or even feeling emotionally dimmed, as if your inner light has faded a little. What's fascinating is that most people don't even realize they're deficient in B12, because the symptoms creep in quietly, like a cool breeze at the start of autumn. But once you replenish it properly, memory becomes sharper, your eyes regain their brightness, and your sleep feels more peaceful. Sometimes, to remember who we are again, all it takes is giving the brain a bit of the fuel it's been missing for years. There's one thing few people know. Inside our brains exists a silent enemy, called homocysteine. When its levels rise too high, it starts damaging the blood vessels in the brain, reducing circulation and slowly weakening nerve cells. But here's the good news. Our bodies have a natural way to keep it under control, thanks to vitamin B6 and B9, folate. I remember one of my patients, Margaret, age 72, who told me, "Doctor, I just can't focus the way I used to. I read a page of a book, and my mind drifts somewhere else." Her tests showed that her homocysteine level was nearly twice the normal range. We began daily supplementation with B6 and folate, and just a few weeks later, she called me with joy in her voice. "Doctor, I can read again, and I remember every detail from the story." I truly believe that sometimes memory isn't lost. It's simply hidden behind these quiet biological imbalances. B6 and folate aren't just vitamins, they're diligent repair workers, tirelessly fixing and cleaning up the tiny damages within the brain. And once the brain begins to heal, the mind becomes clearer, more focused, and calm again, just like it was in the beginning. There's something fascinating that most people don't realize. Sunlight doesn't just warm your body or strengthen your bones. It also awakens your memory. And the key player behind that magic is vitamin D3. I often tell my patients, your brain needs light just as a garden needs sunshine. When the body lacks D3, blood flow to the brain slows, and the neurotransmitters, those tiny messengers of memory and emotion, aren't produced efficiently. That's when we start to feel mentally sluggish, heavy-hearted, and forgetful about even the simplest things. One of my patients once told me, "Doctor, ever since I've started spending a few minutes in the morning sun and taking D3 regularly, my mind feels clearer. I don't mix up my grandkids' names anymore." We both laughed, and he said, "Turns out memory likes to take a walk in the sunlight too." And he's right. Sometimes what we need isn't to try harder to remember, but to nourish the brain so it can remember naturally, effortlessly, like the sunrise returning each morning. You see, every single day, millions of metabolic reactions take place inside our bodies. And during that process, free radicals are created, like tiny sparks that can damage brain cells. As we age, our natural defenses weaken, and that's when vitamin E steps in, like a quiet soldier, extinguishing those sparks before they can cause a fire. I remember one of my patients, Helen, age 74. She once told me, "Doctor, I can't even remember the name of my favorite song anymore." When we ran her tests, her vitamin E levels were low. After a few months of adding foods rich in vitamin E, almonds, olive oil, avocado, she came back smiling. "Doctor, I not only remember the song, I can sing every word of it again." Vitamin E isn't a magic pill, but it helps your neurons stay younger and function more smoothly. It doesn't just protect your memory. It preserves that gentle light of clarity, the one we all hope to keep glowing, no matter how many years go by. There's something I always tell my patients. Your brain isn't just an organ, it's an ocean of memories. And to keep that ocean calm and flowing smoothly, it needs a special kind of oil, omega-3, specifically DHA and EPA. I once met a gentleman named George, 74 years old. He told me, "Doctor, I can't seem to remember the little details of my day anymore. My mind just drifts like water." When I looked at his diet, I realized he hadn't eaten fatty fish, flaxseed oil, or other sources of omega-3 for years. We added them back in, and within a few months, George told me, "My brain feels like it's been oiled. My thoughts are clearer, and my mood feels lighter." DHA and EPA are like quiet ferrymen, keeping the brain's communication flowing smoothly, reducing inflammation, easing tension, and sharpening memory. It's not magic. It's simply giving the brain what it was designed to thrive on. Sometimes a serving of salmon or a handful of walnuts each day is the purest gift you can offer your memory in later life. I've always believed that caring for your memory isn't about taking a few extra pills. It's a way of living. Our brain is like a garden. If we want it to stay lush and alive, we have to water it every day with small, simple acts. A breakfast with salmon, eggs, and a few slices of ripe avocado, a handful of walnuts, or dark leafy greens at dinner. These aren't just foods, they're fuel for your memory. Even a spoonful of olive oil is a natural way to keep the brain well-oiled each day. Take a morning walk, read a favorite book, or spend a few quiet minutes meditating before bed. Deep sleep is when the brain organizes your memories, like a gentle librarian sorting through the library of time. And please don't rely too heavily on supplements. Before adding anything to your routine, let your doctor take a look, because what your brain truly needs is balance, not excess. I often tell my patients, memory doesn't disappear overnight. It fades, little by little, through the years we forget to care for our own minds. Like an untended garden, memory too will wither if it isn't nourished with good food, proper rest, and mindful habits. If you've passed the age of 60, this isn't the time to regret what you've forgotten. It's the time to nurture your brain, just as you care for your heart or your legs. Because a clear, steady mind is the greatest gift age can offer. It lets you keep telling your stories, remembering the faces you love, and experiencing life with all the clarity that remains. And if this video has helped you, please share it. Someone, your father, your mother, your partner, might need to hear these words too. After all, memory is the final treasure of every human life, and it deserves to be protected until the very end.